An ageing population has strengthened calls to rethink the way Australian homes are designed. The federal government says people with disabilities and the elderly are too often shut out of the housing sector. This week it launched industry guidelines to make all new homes accessible. Maria Hatzakis reports.
It's just little steps along the entryway. Bathroom doors that are too narrow to get into, walkways that you can't turn in, kitchens where you can't get to the stove to see what's happening with dinner.
Disability advocate Fran Vickery has cerebral palsy and has overcome challenges all her life. But that hasn't been the only battle she's waged. Finding a place to live where she can make it through the front door and being able to visit family and friends in their homes has been a struggle.
Usually I say, are you having it outside? So, because, I can at least get to the carport. So I say, how many steps are there? And if there's only a couple with my pushchair, my partner can usually, carry me. That's very undignified, having to be carried.
She says there haven't been enough homes designed with the needs of the elderly or disabled in mind.
It just sends that message of social exclusion because you've got a physical disability. There's like an implication that you're not wanted.
The federal government is working to turn that around.
We wouldn't build buildings which say women not allowed. We wouldn't build buildings which say people of particular ethnic origin not allowed. But every day in Australia we build buildings which say that people with disability and carers not welcome.
This week, leaders of several housing industry groups signed up to a target. If achieved, it would mean all new houses would cater for people with a disability or the elderly within the next 10 years.
There are millions of Australians who haven't been part of the assumptions about future houses in Australia. We've got all of the groups, traditional rivals, have worked out an agreed three-standard, a silver, a gold, a platinum standard livable housing design code, where in the future there'll be milestones, and by 2020 all new houses in Australia will be livably designed to suit the needs of all Australians.
The new building guidelines will see all new homes built with features including entry-level access, wider corridors and ground-level bathrooms.
The new guidelines and all the things that are happening at the moment are the most positive things that we've seen for a number of years in this sector.
By 2031, there'll be almost 20% of the population will be over 65, and they've got different housing needs. And we need a diversity of housing stock that needs to cater for the requirements of the entire population, including those people with disabilities.
But there's some disagreement about how effective the guidelines will be. One Queensland advocacy group says the voluntary guidelines should be made mandatory.
In the end, what the industry needs is certainty, and what the community needs is reliable supply of housing that is accessible. That's what most countries that are ageing have had to do. They've had to regulate to ensure that there would be an adequate supply of housing in time for their community, their ageing population.
We would have grave reservations about that. It would add extraordinary cost in some cases. But if you needed to put a level pathway from the street frontage to the entrance of the house, and you're in Red Hill or Paddington, on a steep sloping block, it would be very, very expensive to do it.
But developers say mandatory regulations won't be necessary because demand will drive change.
The community is becoming increasingly aware of the value of staying in their own home, particularly as people age. And to do that, we do need homes that are able to be adjusted over their lifetime to cater for those people. And I think it's going to be a big success story, that's for sure.
The guidelines are in. But now the industry is looking for the details. And there's debate about how much the initiative will add to the price of building.
The average cost to include the access features that Bill Shorten's talking about costs less than $900 per unit of accommodation. Those figures are independent and conservative. They're the figures that were given to the Victorian government when they asked for advice on their regulatory impact.
No, we think that's understated. Our preliminary estimate is that it could be in the vicinity of $5,000. We've got some of the most unaffordable housing in the country, and people need to have choice about the houses they want to build.
The state government says it's following the initiative's progress with keen interest. It says the voluntary guidelines will avoid the need for regulations, and it's aware of the potential to impact housing costs. In any case, Fran Vickery says she's glad to finally be included.
Finally, there's something happening that acknowledges that I want to live in the community